Let's do it.
Happy to have you.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
Hey guys, Matt here. We are back for another steak battle video. This is season 7, episode 3. I have Jay Greenwood in the house. Jay, how you doing?
Pretty good, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. It's been a long time coming. You've been asking to be on the show for a while. I owed you.
Fellow steak aficionado, for sure.
Yeah. I've had some of your cooking, and it's absolutely delicious. So I had to make sure that I lived up to your standards. For you guys that don't know, we have 3 different steaks, and then we actually have a 4th steak that Jay gave me some seasoning that he made. So we're going to just try that out, but Jay obviously knows which one that is. So I'll just try that out for fun, see how it compares to the other 3. And then we will decide which is our favorite steak seasoning. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in to this first steak here.
There we go.
So Jay, I looked it up today. I didn't realize how long you've been a PDGA member, since 2000. So you're quite OG. I mean, I figured you're pretty OG, but that's what, 25 years now.
Yep.
And you've been mostly in the Des Moines area?
Yeah. So I lived in the Quad Cities from '99 to 2005 when I moved here. And I got my PDGA membership there and kind of really started like competing and taking it seriously in the Quad Cities. And then when I moved here, I played Worlds in 2004, and I met a girl that lived here, and she wanted me to move here, and I was like, well, I've already got friends here. I love the golf here because the Worlds event was awesome. So the decision to move here was really easy.
Yeah. How would you say that disc golf in the Des Moines area has changed over time?
Oh, wow. Well, Becky and a lot of the, greats that, did a lot of stuff before I moved here that put on that great event, kind of laid the groundwork. And since then, the club's really, held a couple events strong and, taking care of the courses. Mm-hmm. I think just the size of the city, it's, I thought for a long time, I was on the board for 10 years and I thought we really kind of didn't get a lot done course-wise for a period of time and just kind of rested on the laurels of, what those before us had done. And, and basically what happened is the sport kind of surpassed, the level of the courses that we have here. Not that our courses aren't great, but, they're not Pro Tour level.
Right.
With the exception of what, Ty's done for Pickard now. But that's what needs to be done, if we were to want to have a Worlds here again.
Yeah.
We'd have to do something like that.
Yeah, I agree. You definitely start to see the age of a lot of our courses, just the talent.
Well, I mean, they were designed when we were throwing different Frisbees too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. There weren't.
Nobody had
12,
destroyers back in.
Speed.
Nobody had destroyers back in 2000.
You didn't have 900 rated players throwing 450, 500 feet.
Right.
Like it's,
yeah, there's a lot more youth in the sport now, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I helped run the challenge for several years, and was one of the first people that just wanted to go to one round a day, which was met with a lot of resistance at first because it can't be the challenge unless you play all 4 courses.
Yeah.
In 2 days, and we've and that's kind of the biggest thing I've seen change since I first started playing is less rounds per day, bigger courses, bigger golf, but not as much emphasis on playing a course in the morning and run into another course and play another one.
Yeah. So we've had steak 1. Let's go ahead and dive into steak 2 here.
All right.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely changed over time, where people are almost resistant now to playing multiple rounds in one day. People we're starting to see a little bit of the resurgence of the 2-round C tier, but A tiers. Like last year, I ran the Iowa Amateur Championship, and
that was the total reason that I played that event was because it seemed really old school to me.
Yeah.
Something that I hadn't done in a long time. That was the appeal.
Yeah, and it got really good reception. I was surprised, how many people liked it and liked that format, and kind of brought that back a little bit.
I think there's still a place for it, for a certain, niche of players. I mean, we have such a great, supporting player. There's enough players around here now that, that want to play a tournament, whether it be a, one-round flex tier or, a one-day C tier with 2 rounds, or, you can sneak that IOM in, I think, every year, and it's going to do well.
Yeah. I'm running it later this year. I wanted to run it around the same time as last year, but unfortunately there was a kind of a similar event already happening at the same time. So I decided to move it to later in the year, and I'm going to be gone pretty much all of July, so I couldn't really run it then. But yeah, we will have it again this year, I believe in August, right before school starts for most people. So hopefully have, good turnout again. With you are also the president of Bushwhackers?
I am the president of Bushwhackers.
So how'd that come to be with you wanting to, play more of an active role in the community? You said you were on the board for 10 years, the Des Moines Metro Disc Golf Board, and then
I don't know.
Bushwhackers.
I've just always, really loved what the sport's done for me, and others have inspired me. Becky inspired me a lot. Some other names that a lot of people probably don't know. If you're watching this, you know the name Vic Clark from around here. When I first moved here, he really inspired me, and he was actually he was on the board, and he was the league director at the time, and just the energy that he ran Des Moines Tuesday Night League just inspired the heck out of me. And I've always kind of considered myself a little bit of a leader, so I just kind of fit into some of those leadership roles. And sometimes I'm good at getting people to help out, and because the hardest part about being a leader is trusting people to do things that you can't, because you can't do everything.
Yeah, right.
A lot of people want to think they need to do everything, and you have to be able to empower people to do what they want to do to help you.
For sure, yeah. It is hard. But yeah, I do find though, when you do give people kind of the freedom to do what they want to do, they take a lot more ownership of it.
Absolutely.
They put a lot more care into things, where being a leader, it's not just making the decisions and just telling people what to do. I call that a boss or a manager.
Right.
That's not a leader. A leader.
And sometimes you have to do that, but
Yeah,
a lot of times it's more when people want to do it, it works out better for everybody.
Yeah.
And when they don't see you as the, like you said, the boss that's coming to tell me what to do.
Right.
They want to be there.
Yeah.
They want to help you.
Because when you just start making decisions and just telling people what to do, and then people don't feel like they have any input, they lose interest.
Absolutely.
And especially with, people being volunteers and volunteering their time, that's hard to come by.
It is.
And so
and when you come across people like that, you should really nurture them and not, step on their toes.
Right.
Don't get in don't get in their way. I mean, if this guy wants to really do some things, work with him.
Yeah.
Find out what he's good at, and
For sure.
expose people's talents. That's what I like to do.
Yeah. So we've had stake 1, stake 2. Let's go ahead and dive into stake 3 here.
All right.
So we talked about it before. You're quite the cook. You were back-to-back winner of the Des Moines Ice Bowl chili contest,
Which I probably wouldn't have even entered the first time I won in that 2-time.
Yeah.
But a Facebook memory popped up from 10. It was a 10-year Facebook memory. So really I've won more than 2 times. I've won a bunch of times.
Nice.
But I won a bunch of times back when I was involved with the club, I would always bring chili. I won a couple times. One of the times that I won was 2013, and it was with my buffalo chicken chili, which a lot of people like to call the buffalo chicken dip. And the memory popped up, and it's a super easy.
Was that the one that you made
twice?
Again? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
it just popped up, and I was like, yeah, you know what's funny? I haven't made chili for the Ice Bowl in like 10 years. Probably since I won that trophy.
Yeah.
So like, let's just make it again and see what happens. And it wins again on the 10-year anniversary when it won the first time.
Yeah, so what do you think the secret to making championship chili is?
Well, I can't really divulge it. One of the main secrets is make it a day or two before. Because a lot of those flavors, age and meld together, and it just gets better with age. So I always try to do that. But my really good, since I've gotten into smoking meat, my best chili that I make now is I smoke a chuck roast and do that several days before and cut it up and let it rest in the fridge for up to a week before you put it in. Because it's already cooked, you just put it in to heat up and throw it in the hot chili, and by the time people eat it, it just melts in your mouth.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a big fan of that too. When I'd make chili, I would put in the steak. I'd cook it separately and then put it in last minute, because that way it kind of still maintain that steak texture. Because once it sits in chili too long, then it starts to fall apart. Yeah, fall apart, feel like more of like a stew meat or whatnot. I think for me, a lot of times too, is like kind of knowing your audience. Like with the ice bowl, and typically being cold, people I've noticed like spicier chilies.
True.
At the ice bowl. Now, this year I noticed I think there were less judges than previous years. If you were to choose, how would you do the judging system?
Oh, well, I think there needs to at least be. Judging is so subjective because every judge likes different things, right? I mean, they're not all going to walk in and think that my chili is the best one just because, I think it's the best one. Everybody has different tastes. So, ideally, you need at least 10 judges because it's kind of a sampling thing. So, I mean, so the bigger your sample is, I think the problem with this year, Ryan was on vacation and that was kind of his baby, and so the ball kind of got dropped a bit as far as rounding up people to come judge.
Yeah, so Nate Mickelson had a really good idea, and I kind of agree with it. Because I used to be a big advocate of, I just think everyone should be able to vote. But there's some issues with that, with some people not bringing enough chili. It's hard to get everybody to try 14 everyone. Chilies or whatever.
Well, there's people that bring little crock pots like this.
Yeah. And then like,
there's 4 bowls of chili in there.
There were some people, like when I won, people were saying, "Oh, I only won because it was like a fan favorite or a popularity contest or something like that." And I was like, I won the first year I moved here. No one knew who I was.
I remember.
But either way, Nate's idea, what I thought was a really good idea, was everyone who brings a chili gets to vote, and you can't vote for your own chili. So if there's 14 chilies, those 14 people get a vote.
That's actually a really good idea.
And that's how it's decided.
I've never accused Nate of not having good ideas, so Nate, that's a great idea. I like that.
Yeah. No, I thought it was brilliant.
I mean, I think you could do that, and then if you have like if we had the celebrity judges this year, I think there was the 3 that came from the radio station. I think there might have been 1 or 2 more people that judged, so they might have had like 5. But like with those, and then do that, then I think you still have a bigger sample, and it gives you just more subjectivity, and so it's a little more objective.
Yeah. All right, so we've had all 3 steaks. This was steak 1, steak 2, steak 3. How would you judge them?
It's tough.
It is tough because these are all very similar.
I'm looking at the seasonings over there, and they all even kind of look the same.
Yeah.
Wow. That's why I've been going back and forth.
Yeah, feel free to kind of, and I'm going to sample your steak because this looks delicious.
The rosemary salt?
Mm-hmm. You can definitely taste the rosemary in there. It's definitely unique.
It's pretty prevalent.
And what's funny is sometimes people change their vote after the video. But
they change their after you finish them?
After like we've
had
more of a chance to just devour.
They're like, this one kind of grew on me, actually.
Mm-hmm. All right, so what are your thoughts?
Okay. I think my favorite is steak number 3 over here. And then I think it's 1, 2, 3. They're all really good, and they're almost, if you didn't tell me that they were different seasonings, I might not have even noticed.
They are all very similar seasonings, in my opinion.
So it was a tough one, but I appreciate you putting the task to my palate. But they're all all cooked really well, and the way I like it. They all have an element of saltiness that I like, with some garlic that I do like, a little onion powder, pepper, obviously, but they're, it's hard to rank them, but I think this one's maybe my favorite. 1, 2, 3.
So the first one is the ultimate steak and roast rub.
This one is?
Mm-hmm. Let me just double check to make sure.
It's not bad. It's really good. I mean, like I said, they're all very similar. That's the one that you have. That's your test.
It's possible I might have these backwards. I think I have these backwards. I think the first one, because I had to flip them because there was a weird hot spot in there, so I had to kind of reorder them. Yeah. This one is the ultimate steak and roast rub.
Okay.
But it's kind of unique about it this time is I bought like a coffee grinder. And I put it in a grinder and just made it a lot more fine.
Oh, okay.
So typically it's not...
I was going to say, it looks a little different than what I've...
Yeah, it's typically not this powdery. I just thought I'd try it out, just see, if it tasted any different.
What do you think? I mean, you eat it all the time.
I like it.
Can you tell the difference since you ground it up? Curious about that.
I don't know.
I kind of like a chunkier rub on my steaks because it kind of like this, like little like onion flakes and stuff, like kind of like they'll char up and form a little bark. But that's just personal preference. But
yeah. Well, and the reason I bought the grinder was, so the second seasoning is kind of my own homemade seasoning, which has a bunch of like smoked salt, smoked pepper, but they were like just huge chunks of salt.
Let me smell that.
And they were like too big of chunks, and so that's why I bought the grinder.
Smell that smoky.
And some smoked garlic powder. So it's just salt, pepper, garlic, but it's all like hickory barreled, smoked, like fancy salts or whatever.
I can tell,
whatever.
You get that down in North Carolina?
Yeah. So there's a spice store in Charlotte called Savory Spice I go to every year. And I always go to it because I think you get a free seasoning when it's like your birthday. And
that's cool.
During USGGC, it's always like my birthday. So I always go during, and it's just good stuff. And then the third one, which was steak 1 here, is this Q39.
Oh, from Kansas City.
It's really good. And so this has been one of the favorites of the steak battles. It's typically a lot of people will choose that as their favorite steak seasoning.
I mean, it's all of them are good.
Yeah. And they are all very...
I mean, it's just sea salt, black pepper, and garlic, which is exactly what it looks like.
Yeah.
With mostly salt. The pepper concentration is pretty light. I almost like a little more pepper. Maybe that's why. I don't know. I'm kind of a peppery guy.
So I'm hoping to do more of these with more local people. Is there anyone you suggest that I should have?
Oh, man. That's a good one. Might as well have Mapus on. I mean, he'll eat some steak, and he knows what good food is, obviously.
He's actually been to a steak battle before.
Oh, I know. He was probably here when Avery was here.
Yeah, but he wasn't actually on. So, yeah, he's definitely someone I'll consider. But, all right, anyway, that was Steak Battle Season 7, Episode 3. We'll see you guys next time. Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks for coming.
All right. That was a good one.
Yeah, feel free to keep hogging out.